Hello everybody, welcome back to another Expeditions Guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at running on water. This is an expedition in the Tatras region. This expedition is unlocked after completing a driver's misfortune, and to embark on this expedition you need to have 3 light beacons. So we're going to be using the Kelpie because this is going to be an extremely useful asset for all the water driving that we're going to be doing for this one. It just makes pathing so much easier with the fact that it is amphibious. It can kind of float on the water, makes it a lot easier. So if you have any questions about my vehicle loadout, you'll find that in the description below. In addition to that, I also have with me a set of anchors for emergency purposes, but we're probably going to use one of those a little strategically, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get there. So we're going to be starting at the northeast outpost, and the first thing we're going to do is kind of head off to the east here and then use the amphibious capabilities to just cross this lake. And then we're going to head up through the mountains, all the way down over towards the river, up over here. And this is where we're going to install the first light beacon, after which we're going to continue to head upriver to install the second light beacon. After that, we're going to head all the way down river, all the way down over to here. Once we get here, we're going to scan the bottom for artifacts on the ground, after which we're going to head over here to install our third and final light beacon over here. And when we're all done, we're going to go all the way down here to check our progress and complete the expedition. So that's what we're going to be doing. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is head on out of the outpost, and to do that we're going to go right up here over these rocks and the shrub, and we're going to use this little path by the tree to make our way down. And we're just going to work our way all the way down the hill here. Once we get down to the bottom, we're going to head off to the right and head down this little ditch here. And then up the hill. And right on into the lake. And since we're in the Kelpie, we are just going to float on the water here. So what we're going to do is go ahead and turn those tire pressures down just to give us a little bit more speed through the water. And we're just going to zip right across the lake here. And this just makes navigating this area just so much easier when you can just fly right across the water here. This won't be the only bit of aquatic driving that we're going to be doing on this expedition. Alright, once we get to the other side here, we're going to go ahead and reinflate those tires and follow some normal pathing. So we're just going to drive straight ahead here, kind of up through the divots here. Right over here, we're just going to go right through this shallow pool. We're just going to go to the left of these trees here and head right on up this hill. And right over here, we're going to go up over this stone path here. And we're just going to follow this little stream all the way down until we get closer to the main river. Just going to go right in between these trees here. Just going up around these trees. The Kelpie is a little weird handling wise sometimes. But from here, we're going to go up onto this cliff face. And we're just going to follow the path along the cliff here. It is very narrow and a lot of rocks, so just be very careful going through here. going to go up around these rocks. And then up and over these rocks. And we're just going to go right around these rocks here. And then we're just going to follow this path down. And just all the way down, up over this big rock here. And then we're going to go right across the water. Once we get across the water, we're going to snake our way through the boulders here. Climb right up over this one. And right over here, this is going to be another tricky spot here. We're going to get right up in between the boulder and the trees here. And we're going to be right on the edge of some very angled ground here, so just nice and easy. Make our way through this little ditch here and then up over the hill. And we're just going to go right through this clearing. Nothing to really worry about here. There are a couple of bumps in the ground that can kind of upset the vehicle, but nothing super hazardous to worry about. This is going to be another tricky spot up here. Just going to go right up the slope. And just continue up on this hillside. Right over here, we're just going to stay right on the edge of the water. And then head right up this hill. Once we get over here, we're going to go right around this big boulder here. And then off to the left. And this is going to be a bit of a tricky spot here. We want to stay like right on the edge here, just to give us the most ground clearance getting over here. And we're going to head right over here, and this is where I am going to put down an anchor. So we're going to go ahead and put the anchor down right here, and that is going to help us getting back, because there is a very steep ditch getting across here. And we can use this tree to pull us up going one way, and the anchor will help us get back the other way, because the Kelpie likes to kind of dig into the ground a little bit. So once we get across there, we're going to go right down here and install our first light beacon. And from there, we're going to go ahead and get turned around and make our way up the hill. So just for reference, this is where we've installed the first light beacon. And we're going to follow this path up to the second one right there. So, like I said before, we're going to use our anchor to kind of pull us up out of this little ditch here. It's going to just yank us right across, and we can continue on our way. So we're just going to head up this hill and across the water. And we're just going to keep climbing up over all these rocks. Once we get over the rocks, we're just going to follow the clearing. Couple of little cracks in the ground here. Just kind of make your way right on over those. And here we're just going to kind of follow this path right up in between those two boulders. Once to get through these two boulders, we can follow this all the way down and around. Right down here is a task pickup. We're just going to ignore that for now. And we're going to go ahead and cross over to this little island. And this is where the fun stuff really begins. So we're going to go ahead and just scale the river. And so we're going to take this left path and we're just going to climb up the river. It's extremely treacherous. It looks like you can't get up there, but you can. There's plenty of trees and logs and stuff like that caught in the boulders that we'll actually be able to use to yank ourselves up these hills and get to our objective location. Just like that, we're just going to use these trees just to kind of just keep the truck moving forward here. Probably going to get hung up on some of the stumps, but that is quite alright. And right over here, we're going to take the left side of this big rock. And we're just going to squeeze ourselves right next to this stump. Kind of use it to pull us around. We're going to use these stumps to pull us up. Go grab one at the top, and that is going to pull us all the way up. Just going to get right up over here. Come on. Kind of wedged in between these stumps right now. Pressure is going to give us a bit more oomph. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Try to grab onto this. That should pull us right through. There we go. Okay, that was a little more difficult than it was in my playtest. That is just an extremely difficult spot to get through, but it is completely possible to get through there. So, once we get up on top, we're going to go ahead and stop in our mission square and go ahead and deliver the second light beacon. Turn those pressures up again. And this is where we're at. We're at the top of the river, and we're just going to make our way down the river and across this island, and then down the river some more, and this is where we're going to scan the riverbed. So that is our next destination. So we're just going to use these trees to kind of get us back to our path that we used. And going down is a lot easier than getting up. So we're just going to follow the same general path down the water here. And the Kelpie just helps so much with this, because some of these sections are a little deep on the water side, so being able to just kind of float across these small sections of deep water while we're climbing up here is just super helpful. And we're just going to use the stumps when we get kind of hung up, because no matter how you do it, you're going to get hung up on the branches. So just being able to kind of pull yourself through is super helpful here. We're just going to keep following the river here. Get up onto some dry land for just a little bit here. We're actually going to use the shore here to bypass that little area there. Gonna hit right down here. And we're gonna go ahead and turn those pressures down for this big water section. And I'm actually gonna swing by. We got an airdrop here. That is one of the bonus objectives on this, is to pick up 4 items. So we're gonna go ahead and grab all 3 of those. That's probably not going to be enough for the actual bonus objective, but I'm sure those will come in handy. Alright, so from here, we're going to go right around the rock here. Right up over. Why am I... Oh, it's the lower pressures. Took a whole bunch of damage there that I wasn't intending to take. Pull ourselves through. This is just kind of a tricky spot here. Get ourselves pointed in the right direction here. And from here, we're just going to go right on down the waterfall. Pointed in the right direction, and down we go. Just going to take it nice and slow, get down to the bottom, and then up over these rocks. And then from here we can go ahead and deflate the tires. Give us a little bit more control in the water. Just going to go right around these rocks here. And that is going to get us up onto Fish Island, where we can go ahead and re-inflate our tires. Head on over to Fish Island. And from here, we're just going to take a little break from the river and just use this island to make some progress heading down the river. So we're just going to head off to the left side here. We're just going to follow the clearing through the trees. Just get right on the river shore here. Right over here, we're going to head right on down these rocks. We're just going to head right on through here. Just climb right over those and get into the water. And now that we're in the water, we can go ahead and turn the tire pressures down a little bit more. This part here is probably one of the trickiest descents. There's just a lot of logs and branches here that have just weird hitboxes, like this one here. It just doesn't quite want to let you over sometimes. We go up on the right side. That should get us right on over. There we go. That log just has like a really weird hitbox. But it works. So we're going to stay left at the split here. That one's got another weird hitbox. I'm running out of fuel. That's what's going on. There we go. Okay. Pull ourselves over. trying to navigate around all of these logs and rocks and things like that. Pull me around this branch, please. There we go. Just go around this big tree. And from there, we're in the clear. That is the last of the challenging drive over the logs that we're going to have to do on this one. So, what we're going to do here is just head right up on the side here. We're going to use this tree to kind of just keep ourselves pointed in the right direction. A little too far, but it works either way. And we're just going to head right on down over to our scanning point. And from here, we're going to go ahead and scan the river. So what we're looking for is this stone arch here, and there's a stone over here. So we want to get kind of right in the middle of this archway and grab that, and then we're going to head over here and scan that. And there you go. Whoa, that's a whole lot of stones and ancient ruins down there. I'll call this stretch the Ancestors' Trap. The viewers will be thrilled to watch the contestants row by. So, with that taken care of, it is time to head to the next section. So we're going to go ahead and just repair the vehicle and top off with fuel. And this is where we're at. And we're just going to head down to the south, across the river, over to this next section over here. So to get there, we're going to go ahead and just get turned around and make our way right on through the woods here. Go ahead and put those tire pressures back up. Forgot to do that. And we're just going to follow this all the way down here. Just over these rocks and down to the shoreline. Once we get down to the shoreline, we're just going to go right across the river over to this island here. And with Kelpie, we can just kind of float across. We don't have to pull ourselves through like we do with some other vehicles. And from here, we're just going to go right across this bit of land. And then from here, we're going to go right across the water again. And once we get over here, we're going to go ahead and install our third and final light beacon. And now we have to check the track. So this is where we're at. We're going to follow this path up through the woods and get down to the main river proper, where we're just going to follow that all the way down to this island way at the south. So we're just going to head right up through the forest here. Kind of got a little bit of a clearing here. Nothing too treacherous to worry about, just a couple of dips in the ground. And this thing very much likes to dig into those little trenches. It does have a bit of a nose overhang compared to where the tires are at, but that's just the nature of the vehicle. Just going to go right through this clearing here. Right through here is going to get us right on over to the river. So we're going to head right on into that main stretch of water here. And we're just going to dive right in. Once we get to the water, we can go ahead and turn those pressures all the way down, and from here, it's pretty much just a straight shot down to the island. So, one thing I'm going to do is just put this thing in manual high gear. I've noticed when you're driving this thing in the water, and especially these long stretches of water, in the automatic gearbox, it tends to stop and try to shift, but then it's unable to shift. So you kind of get this like stop and go motion with the vehicle, and it's not very smooth. But putting this thing in either a low gear, a medium gear, or a high gear, in this case I've got it in the medium gear, just kind of helps just make the ride a little smoother, especially for these longer aquatic adventures that we find ourselves doing on this map sometimes. So. There's just nothing dramatic going on right now. We're just going just right on down the water. We do have a couple little islands we're going to have to sort of bounce through on our way over to our destination, but for the most part, pretty smooth sailing. Alright, we are approaching our destination here. So, we're just going to follow the water here. We do have a couple of land spots here, so we can go ahead and put those pressures back up, put this thing back in auto, and use this bit of land to our advantage here. Kind of sneak around the trees here, and then just head right on over to the blue square. And that is going to trigger a wonderful cutscene where we go up and down the river and take a look at everything we just did. So, there you have it. That is going to complete running on water. Hope you guys enjoyed the guide. Let me know what you think. And until next time, I'll see you in the wilds. Bye-bye.